This is the NAR's total active listings data. It is one of my favorite charts, one of the charts that I've used recently to kind of expose the people that have said that we're going to have a massive inventory spike. This goes all the way back to 1982 to the last existing home sales report. As you can see here, from 1982 to 2023, if you look at an average, about 2 to 2.5 million active listings is the norm. We had more inventory back in the early 1980s. We have a lot more people now than back then. So one of the things I've tried to talk about in my work over the years is that inventory channels in America are much different after 2010. Why do I say 2010? 2010 is after the qualified mortgage laws were put into place. This means housing lending is going back to its boring roots. Fixed debt cost, rising wages. Homeowners, once they buy their homes, are shielded from inflation or higher rates or anything of that matter. And they also typically live in their homes longer and longer. So the only time in history, going back decades, that we had an inventory spike was the 2006 to 2011 period. Now, if you look at the chart, if you go back to 2000 itself, total inventory was about 2 million. During the housing bubble years, inventory kept on rising. Monthly supply was down, but total active listings kept on rising. Back then, we had a massive credit and sales boom. People can list their homes, buy a house freely, the next one, didn't have very much constraints. And then when the credit boom busted, you could see the spike. It's never happened before. That's what we call forced credit selling. There's going to be another chart later on that goes into details. That market will never exist again. So a lot of people, the housing bubble boys, the people that I've dealt with for many years, have always talked about mass supply coming onto the market, except this is the difference. A traditional seller in America is also a traditional buyer, 75 to 82% of the time. So when demand picks up, mortgage rates go down, demand picks up, first-time home buyers, they're not selling a house, they're buying a home. Inventory levels slowly fall and fall and fall. And for my work, I've been doing this for over 10 years. I've always talked about from 2008 to 2019, that housing would have its weakest recovery ever. Economics is demographics. We were very young as a country back then in terms of our first-time home buyers. But years 2020 to 2024, we would have the best housing demographic patch ever recorded in history. There's also a problem with that. As you can see with the black line chart that I've always drawn on these data lines, inventory has been slowly moving lower and lower and lower. And then here comes 2020, housing demand broke out, pre-cycle highs, all before COVID hit us. Inventory fell to a level that I deem to be savagely unhealthy. What I call is forced bidding, too many people chasing too few homes. So when mortgage rates started to rise, of course, the housing crash, people said, oh, here it comes, massive inventory, massive inventory. You guys see the inventory in the bottom right corner. If you need your glasses, please get them. That's all it was. We had the biggest sales collapse in 1 year and ever in history, and we never even got back to the range that we saw from 1982 to 2023, right? So homeowners are in a very good spot. They have been for a very long time, well before COVID. A lot of them got to refinance again. They have a very low payment, total housing costs. So people have been living in their homes longer and longer. From 1985 to 2007, housing tenure was about 5 to 7 years. From 2008 to 2023, it's about 11 to 13 years. There's parts of the US that are 15 to 18 years. I've lived in my home for 19 years. So people aren't as moving as much and their financials are good. So when the housing sales crash happened, inventory did grow last year. The last time inventory grew in America was actually 2014. Back then, purchase application data went down as well. I'll have another chart to even make it more clear. And total active listings grew. But here, we're not even anywhere close to the 4-decade average because homeowners are doing well. So that's what we wanted, right? We fixed the credit systems so they could do well. But they also do not sell in panic. The people that tell you homeowners sell in panic usually are stock traders, because stock traders are usually on leverage, or professional grifters on YouTube that keep on saying, people are going to rush to the market, they're going to sell their homes. No, we just had the biggest collapse in sales and we never even got close. So hopefully this chart, and if you want to show your clients, This is the reality of the inventory world we live in, going back to 1982. Nobody likes to show this chart every year. It might be the first time some of you have seen it. I just wanted to show scale because when you adjust this chart to population and households, inventory is near all-time lows. And we already had the home sales crash. So when people are like surprised that home prices aren't crashing this year, there it is, right? People are stuck in the marketplace for the last second half of 2022 when demand was collapsing. Well, demand is no longer collapsing anymore, and active listings are at all-time lows.